Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is Josh of the Josh and Nas Show with my boy Ignacio Zambrano.
Yeah, we in here, episode 7, or is this 8? Which one is it?
No, it's 8. It's 8. See, this is how you mess up sometimes. We've been doing this too much.
Hey, it is. Look, interview after interview, episode after episode, man. It's episode 8. I apologize for that, but you guys know what it is. It's real, it's raw, it's uncut, baby. Who we got on the phone, Josh?
Ignace, we got somebody who I admire and respect with, tremendously. This is another one that's actually real special for me because, this kid, we, back when we were starting on, with me and Anthony, who you guys might know throughout the podcast show, when we started out in network marketing, we was basically, in our second company and stuff like that, and we were looking to do something. We heard about this kid who was making it happen halfway across the country in the West Coast. He was killing it, making, doing 10 G's a month, organically building, when, we were kind of used to, people always getting, other leaders and teams and stuff like that, and that's how they'll make these type of incomes. But the way this kid was doing, he was organically building. He was taking people, who wanted to make something happen, who had no prior experience in entrepreneurship at all, and making leaders out of them. And just, creating a massive income while he was doing it. So who we got here today, guys, it's real special. Great fucking guy, man. And, I'm glad to call him a friend. I present to you, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Julian Doan. How you doing, brother?
Better than beautiful, close to perfect, and on my way to amazing. And I just wanted to say, give back to you guys for the opportunity to be on here with all of you.
Thank you, bro. So let's get started real quick. Just give a bit of a backstory on who you are, what you're about.
My story is very similar to most people, My name is Julian Doan. I'm 27 years old now. I've been in network marketing for quite some time, about 9 years, and my story is a little bit different than most. I know a lot of people get started in our industry because they want to make a lot of money. Some people get started in our industry because they want their time freedom back. For me, the reason why I got started was a little bit different than most because for me, my story, before network marketing, I was just a loser. I was the type of person that was always abused by the people around me, taken advantage of. Big wimp, had no confidence, very insecure. And so when I saw network marketing for the first time, it was an interesting experience for me because, I saw the people on stage, I saw how charismatic they were, I saw how confident they were, and it seemed like they possessed some kind of magic, like people were just drawn to them. And you get a chance to hear their stories, and, we can all admit when we first hear someone's rags or story, it's kind of hard to believe they went through what they went through. And for me, I got involved because, I really wanted to find the confidence in myself. I really wanted to find out who I was, and I was just tired of being a loser. And, I got started in the industry. First 5 years, made no money. I was not a fast start. I didn't have a lot of success, but I believed in the promises of network marketing. I worked on personal development. And, long story short, I met someone that believed in me and finally put the pieces together, and it was an amazing experience.
Awesome.
Well,
awesome.
So you said you're how old right now, Julian?
27.
27.
Just turned, about a month ago.
Oh, okay.
Happy belated birthday.
Yeah, happy belated, man.
Thank
you. Julian, I kind of, for those of you listening, guys, this is my first time actually talking to Julian, but just off that background story, it's a big deal to me because I really like building something from the ground up, building it from zero to the top because, of course, nobody can take it from you, and if by some crazy way they do, you can rebuild it again. So I'm touched with that story, but the one thing I want to ask you is, what made you, I know you said you saw what was interesting about network marketing and you believed in it, but what made you not give up 5 years going making no money? Because the cost of buy-in, especially in the network marketing industry, is low. So people come in and expect to make money faster than in a traditional business. And a lot of times that's not the case when people get discouraged and people quit. For 5 years, no money. What was the muscle behind that push to make you keep pushing, continue to grow, and finally have your breakthrough?
Well, it's really what my mentor said to me that really stuck. It's crazy the power of words. And oftentimes, as speakers, when you speak on stage, it's crazy to imagine you never know who's in the audience. You never know who's listening. And I took a lot of things to heart. And one of the things that my mentor said, and I don't even know if you remember me being in the room when he said this, is he said that before we were all somewhere, we were nowhere. And if you want it bad enough, you can get there. And for me, 5 years making no money, my first mentor, Tim Herr, when I met him in 2005, I wasn't even in his organization. I was a sideline. And, I was the guy that would show up to every training with a journal, very socially awkward, go up to every leader and be like, what's the one thing you can tell me to become successful? And I'd write down in my journal, I'd take it to heart. And, the first lesson he told me, he says that, whatever your goals and dreams are, whatever you want to accomplish, it's actually impossible for you to accomplish it. And that was the first time anybody's ever told me that it was impossible for me to accomplish my goals. And I took it kind of personally. I got a little bit upset. And, before I could say anything back, he said, it's impossible for you to accomplish your goals and your dreams the way you are. Because if you can have everything you want the way you are, you should already have it. And if you develop yourself and transform yourself, you can become the person to accomplish all that you want. So for 5 years, here's what I realized. I got started because I was a loser. I hated my life. I wasn't confident. I didn't like where I was. Didn't like where I was going. I looked at all my friends. They're going the traditional route. I didn't want to go that route. I didn't want to go where they were going. And so I kept thinking to myself, you know what? Struggle is less painful than regret, If I quit now, I'll always be a loser. And, progress is progress. I said, man, I just need it to work. And I just held on to that belief that, hey, if I can get this to work, if I can build this, it'll all be worth it. And that's all I kept telling myself, that I'll be worth it. Because, when I had millions of reasons to quit, I just thought to myself, it's like, how bad do you not want to be a loser anymore? And, you have to understand, for me, my whole entire life, I was the person that was picked on, that was beat up, in high school. I had the roller backpack, people would kick it over, and so that was me. And I just said, I was a guy that in high school, when I graduated, I said, I cannot wait for my 10-year reunion. I'm going to show everybody. So that was kind of, it's true that when they say that when the why is strong, the how will become easy. 5 years to make your goals and dreams come true. It's not that long of a time if you really think about how much time people spend being broke. 40 years at a job for 40 hours a week to be average is a long time to be broke. 5 years to figure out a business, become successful, wasn't that long,
Yeah, and I agree with it. People sit through, 5, 6, 7, even 10 years of college, and put a bunch of money out and learn a bunch of information, and getting out of college, just to find themselves still have to go find a way to recoup the money they just spent out getting all this information. So, yeah, I can definitely feel the balance. That was something big. It hit me when you were telling your story. So, yeah, this is going to be a great interview, man. I'm pumped. I'm feeling it. I pick from me all the time because I get real excited in the middle of interviews. Like, he'll talk to me before, and I'll be like, yeah, I'm good, man. I'm pumped. I'm ready. He's like, dude, no, I need my co-host to get pumped up. Hearing your story got me there, man. So, yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, and this is what I'm saying, NasZ. This is who, when we were in that company, this is who we were hearing about. And, when we heard his story, what I'm saying? I know for me personally, it hit me hard because, I was basically at that time still going through that situation that he was describing, you know what I mean? And, I never really had any much success in network marketing at all. So it's just kind of like just to hear that story was, the same way you just felt right now. I felt at that time, and I still feel it even at this moment, because it reminds me back to, when we first all got started, it was like, holy shit, what we came from, what we wanted to do, what the dreams are. And, Julian, I just wanted to touch on that exact moment when you decided it was time to really start kicking ass. That moment when you was just like, okay, screw all this, I'm going all in on what I'm going to do to make sure the goals and the dreams happen.
It's crazy because the moment, it kind of happened like that, but it didn't happen like that, because what happened was my first breakthrough, when it really came, and, let me tell you kind of my views on network marketing, okay, before you can fully understand this. I'm the type of person that I love network marketing, but I really, really hate network marketing. I know that doesn't sound normal for a leader network marketer to say, but it's kind of like those people that say, I love God but hate religion. It's like, why do people love God, right? Because of what God stands for, the difference in his life. But then why do some people have a negative vibe about religion? It's because you take something beautiful, you take something true or whatever it is, and then what ends up happening is people, for their own selfish reasons, they go out there and, they produce a message. They make it about them instead about the people. You think about what network marketing was started for. It's like, hey, you have a vision for your life, I have a vision for my life, and together through this vehicle we can accomplish anything. And so for me, my first 5 years, I experienced all the good, the bad, the ugly, like the people that would say one thing on the front of the room, but then there would be a different person behind the room, you know what I mean? Right. And so for me, when I finally met a leader that really poured into me, this person took, steps forward, not just being my mentor, but being a friend. And that's really a big balance that you have to learn on how to do. It's like certain times in your relationship with your organization that they need a friend, and there's certain times you need to be a leader. And what happens is people get it messed up sometimes. Sometimes when your team needs you to be their friend, you try to be their leader. You know what I mean? And sometimes when they need you to be their leader, you're their friend, right? And so what happened was I found a mentor that really stood for me. And I mean, I'm talking about like fight for me, stood for me, didn't accept my excuses, didn't accept any of that stuff. And he saw something in me that I really didn't see myself, right? And, you know, it's kind of like in The Matrix. You know how when Morpheus thought that Neo was the one, and then when Morpheus got captured, Neo was like, I got to go back in there and I got to save Morpheus because he thinks I'm someone that I'm not, right? And so when he went in there, in that process, he figured he was the one, right? And so for me, I had that mentor, saw a lot in me, believed in me, and I was like, man, this guy believes so much in me, more than anybody else. I mean, this guy's my friend. When we hang out, we go to the movies, do all this stuff, you know, really poured into me. It's like, I don't want to let him down. And so in my mind, I was just like, if I just keep giving it my best, if I don't live up to the potential, at least I can say I gave it my best, and he'll know that that's good enough. But in the process of doing that, I was just like, holy crap, I can do this. I am good. And then it started just changing my perspective because, you know the saying that by John C. Maxwell, that if you look at a person for how they are, they're going to become worse. But if you look at somebody for how they could be, they'll become who they should be. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And so what happens is a lot of times, you know, in network marketing, we're trained on how to talk to people, right? If someone wants to quit, what do? We don't buy their excuses. We tell them it's going to be worth it, right? If someone, says, man, I suck, I can't do this. What do you tell them? You encourage them, like, no, of course you can. It just takes time, blah, 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 right? But imagine we're trained on what to say to other people when they go through these experiences. But then when we go through our own experiences, what do we say to ourselves, right? It shouldn't be, we should say the same thing, right? Like, it's like we treat other people, our downlines, better than we treat ourselves. And so what happened was I learned these different experiences, and I realized that if you look at yourself for how you are, where you are, you're going to become worse. But if you look at yourself for how you could be, you're going to be transformed on who you should be. And so in that whole process, that's when it happened. And then finally, it's kind of like being bullied in school. I mean, that's kind of like what I can relate it to. I know one time in school I was bullied so much, and I'm actually a black belt in Taekwondo, and they teach you self-defense and don't. But what happened was I remember I kept getting bullied. They kept picking on me, and I didn't do anything. I didn't stand for myself because I didn't And then finally something happened and pushed me. And finally, when you're pushed to a certain point, you say enough is enough, and you hit back. And that's kind of how life works. Life's going to keep pushing you and pushing you. And finally, when you stand for yourself and you push back, that's when life's going to be like, okay, get out of the way, right? And so that's kind of what happened for me. And it was a slow, gradual process. But, after 5 years of making no money, what ended up happening was after those 5 years, I never made less than $10,000 a month. And my biggest month in network marketing was about like $40,000, $45,000. So it's kind of an interesting experience how that works. And I think to myself, man, what if I would have quit any of those 5 years? I wouldn't have been where I'm at. So like while I'm working, everybody was like, talking mess, saying that I'm wasting my time, it'll never happen. While I'm working, they're partying and all this stuff. And sometimes you get jealous. You're like, man, I just want to have fun too, right? And it's crazy because during those 5 years, I had friends make more money than me. I had friends that graduated from college and all those things. But then if you look at the whole span of 9 years, 5 years I made no money, the next 4 years, I made more money in 9 years than all my friends did in the last 9 years. So it's true what they say, that if you do the things that other people are not willing to do, you're going to be able to enjoy the life that other people will never live.
And that's exactly right. That's exactly right. You're actually living proof of that concept happening. And me and NasZ, we're already on that type of journey. And this is exactly what we've been trying to portray here on this show and on things that we do, is that, despite what everybody else might say, if you keep doing what you believe you should be doing, that's going to end up getting to the goal and to the dream that you want to accomplish. Continue on that path, and no matter what anybody says, even if they're talking shit from, down the block and they're saying, your family's saying things to you, whatever it is, just keep on, because eventually it's going to get to that point, exactly what you just said, that they're going to start looking at you like, wow, dude, he kept going and he made it happen, and I'm still here in this same place.
Yo, Josh, let me jump in right there, Josh. Let me jump in right there. Julian, you mentioned in your story, in your background, that personal development was a big deal for you, and even when what you just said, personal development was a big deal. What were some of the things that you did, like 5 years making no money, the type of people books you read, the type of people you listened to, the type of things that you did on a daily basis to make sure that your mind's in the right place to continue pushing forward, although you're making no money?
Well, it's crazy because one of the things that I'm going to tell you is personal development is very, very important. I believe in personal development, but some people get really weird from personal development because information without application is nothing. You know what I mean? Like, you have people that read all the books, But if you never
Right.
go out there and apply the information that you're learning, there's a saying that says to know and to not yet do is to not yet know. Someone that knows information that doesn't apply it will get the same results as someone that doesn't know it. So I read all the books, I listened to all the tapes. But what really, really did it for me is my mentor, Cliff Braun, right, at the time. He had me go to this course, right, and it's called Choice Center. And it's like about power of transformation and whatnot. And, it's about the whole be, do, have. And what we don't realize is that we think we have to be a certain way in business. We think we have to be a certain way in our relationships. We think we have to be a certain way in, our business life and our family life. But what's crazy is that how you do anything is how you do everything. What holds you back in business is also what holds you back in relationships. What holds you back in relationships is the same thing that holds you back in your fitness, right? Because how you do anything is how you do everything. And, that course I went to, it kind of taught me what my self-limiting beliefs were, where they originated from, which is crazy because it all comes from our parents and how we grew up, and really how, when you're young, you're not emotionally educated enough to understand what you're going through. And so going through all that stuff, I kind of realized who I was, and that was probably the biggest breaking point for me, because personal development is very, very important. But it's kind of like, masking who you are. Does that make sense? Just adding on to it. But if you don't get to the core root of who you are, what holds you back, then it doesn't matter what you do. And that course really eliminated my self-limiting beliefs and really changed it all for me. So that was the biggest thing. But then after that, a couple of books that really helped me out in business. There's a book called Personality Plus by Florence Littauer. And, we all, they use different terms. I know some people know red, blues, greens, yellows, sharks, dolphins, whales, urchins, controllers, promoters, animals, whatever it is. But in that book, it really teaches you, number one, your strengths, your weaknesses, and it teaches you how to communicate to other people. And in network marketing and business in general, there's a saying that says, if you don't understand people, you don't understand business. And that's one of the biggest things is, so many, imagine like, for example, we go to Korea. What's going to be easier, me trying to convince every Korean person I meet to learn English, or me learn Korean? It's going to be me to learn Korean, right? And so we got to learn how people are. When you learn how people are, you can communicate to them how they are and speak their language. So that was a major book that helped me out in my life. And then there's another book specifically for entrepreneurs that everybody should read. It's very simple. You'll finish it in 2 hours. It's called The Shark and the Goldfish. It's like a modern-day version of Who Moved My Cheese, and it's about this goldfish that, every single day its owner would feed him at a certain time. It would know when to expect to eat and everything, and all of a sudden the owner's son flushes it down the toilet, and now he's in the ocean. Now there's no guaranteed food. He has to go out there and look for the food. Nothing's going to be handed to him. He has to learn how to adapt and change. It's a really good book that's going to teach you the difference in the mentality of how you need to be as an entrepreneur and how you need to be to take on your life. So that was another book. And another really great book is The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel. I know because everybody always talks about Think and Grow Rich. Everybody talks about 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. But the thing is, personal development for a brand new person could be intimidating for some people. Like, I didn't read Think and Grow Rich for my first 4 years. Like, I couldn't read it for some reason. Every time I tried to read it, I didn't understand it. So those are a couple of great books to kind of
add that same problem,
Yeah. So I mean, I read, I do personal development, I study leaders that are where I want to be at. I watch their videos, their trainings, and whatever I can do to grow. And believe it or not, when I watch movies, personal development is anything that leaves you different and better than when you were before. So music does that for me. I mean, a bunch of different things. So hopefully that kind of answers your question. I don't know if it did.
That hit it right on the head. I got another one, but I'm gonna let Josh go ahead. One, I know he's been waiting. He's got something he wants to ask.
Well, since it's been a couple of years since we last seen each other, I just want to know what you've been up to. I mean, I know you've been still crushing it. So, what's been the goal now? What's your plan for now and what you're trying to reach?
So currently, right now, in the company I'm in, I'm a diamond agent. I'm still the youngest six-figure earner. But my vision is within the next 1 year, I want to pass that out to somebody else. I want to become the youngest millionaire in secret. I mean, the youngest millionaire in secret right now, I believe, is like 34, so I have a long time to catch up. But I want to set the bar as high as possible, because it's interesting that people make excuses for people. You're too young, you're too old, whatever it is. And when you raise the bar, I honestly believe you lose the losers. When you lower the bar, you lose the winners. So my vision is I want to empower people by setting such a high bar and just kind of breaking stigmas, breaking what people believe how things should be. You know what I mean? And for me, my vision is I want to take network marketing back to how it was, and about truly caring about people, truly helping people transform their lives. Because for me, my first 5 years, all I had were mentors that tried to get me to be good at business. And, the worst thing about getting someone to be good at business is at the end of the day, they're only going to be good at business. So my vision is through network marketing, through Secret, and through other things that I'm doing, I want to go out there and help people transform themselves and become better people. Because if you imagine, if I take a young gentleman and I help him become a better person, by default, he'll become a better father, a better brother, a better son, right? A better boyfriend, husband, whatever it is. And by default, become better at business. It's about balance, about improving all areas of your life. So that's kind of my vision right now, and what I want to do with that, and just kind of go out there and just help people believe that they can become more than they are, and show them how they become more than they are, through network marketing, just through example and how you live life.
All right, cool. Man, okay, 27, right?
Yes, sir.
Been in network marketing 9 years, correct?
Since I was 18.
And your biggest month was $40,000, correct?
Yes. Without bonuses.
Without bonuses. Okay.
Yeah, with bonuses,
so,
about 60,000.
Josh and I, we've done the traditional network marketing. Of course, right now we're in the internet marketing. We basically just get a little more leverage to connect with a few more people, but the basis of it is the same. But now we like to strike nerves a little bit when people are listening to the show. So the next question is going to push a few buttons and kind of let you go somewhere that maybe people don't ask you a lot. The one thing is working 9 years, building an income of a month of $40,000. You see a lot of people, you work with a lot of different people, I'm sure young, old. What is something that really pisses you off about what people do and how they approach being an entrepreneur, how they approach being a network marketer in general?
The thing that pisses me off the most, it gets a reaction out of me, but then, you kind of take a step back to put yourself in their shoes and you remember when you got started, that kind of deal. But the one thing that pisses me off the most, and it's kind of our fault as network marketers, is, when we tell people that, hey, anybody can make it happen, you're going to get rich, or whatnot, and they come with that mentality. And the fact of the matter is, kind of to push some buttons and whatnot in the same respect, is that the fact of the matter is most people will fail in network marketing, most people will not succeed in network marketing, and most people that join network marketing will not succeed right away, okay? And the reason why is because if they get started, they bring in their old habits, their old philosophies, their old decisions, their old actions. That's what got them to where they are. So what pisses me off is that when people get started and they need it the most, but they're also the least coachable. They bring in their ego, right? They bring in their self-righteousness. They bring in all those conversations of having to be right, having to look good and all this stuff. And what ends up happening is they get in their own way. And so that's one of the things that pisses me off is that when I see so much in people, but they don't see it in themselves and they waste their potential. And they make excuses. So that's one of the biggest things because, one of the things I learned is there are no excuses. There's always a way to create what it is that you want. And when I see people that are not living in there and accepting their excuses more than their reasons, that's what really, really frustrates me.
That was right on the head, man. And another thing that Josh and I are big on is, really building people, because network marketing, internet marketing has gotten a bad name because people give that pitch that you're going to jump in, you're going to get rich tomorrow, you're going to be a millionaire this year, all you got to do is just follow me. And,
all that crazy
that whole pitch, and they leave out the fact that it takes work, it takes hustle. It's a possibility that you can get in and work really hard and in a month create an income that you've only dreamed about. It's quite possible. And there's quite a few people that have done it in the industry, but so many people leave out the hustle that it takes being an entrepreneur in general. So yeah, that was right on the head, and kind of definitely.
You can't cheat the grind. You know what I mean? The grind knows exactly what you put into it. It will never give you anything you don't deserve. And it's interesting when people are upset that they didn't get their results when they didn't put in the work or the effort. It's like, but I was committed 80% of the time. It's like, well, that's why you got 80% of the results. It's like they tell you, hey, these are the 10 things to do, and you do 8 of them. You can't expect to get the results that doing 10 out of 10 will bring. And that's what people don't realize is because they're so used to having a job. They're so used to, think about it. From the very moment we're born, we're programmed to accept orders and be told what to do. And I think that's why most people who join network marketing are so lost. The best part about network marketing is you're your own boss. The worst part is you're your own boss, and most people don't know how to be in control. And they're waiting for someone to tell them what to do. And it's like, dude, you can't do that. Your upline's not going to build it for you. Your downline's not going to build it for you. If you're waiting for someone to tell you what to do, it's like you're never going to get there.
That's what I'm saying. this is who we have on here, and this is basically the philosophy of the guys, and this is how what I knew for a fact when I first saw it. I was like, wow, dude, this guy knows exactly what he's talking about. He knows exactly what he's doing. You know what I mean? This is why he's in the position he's in. So he's always been a constant motivation and inspiration to me personally. And what motivates me even more is knowing that he built his organization organically. You know what I mean? He didn't take a shortcut route and didn't try to grab a leader another way from another company or something like that. He built it from people who wanted to make something happen in their lives. So Julian, please talk a little bit about that, why you chose that route. I know you kind of explained a little bit earlier, but just...
Well, one of it is, so I went through a really bad experience. I was in another company, and, I was very young, naive. I was following leaders, right? It's kind of like, when your upline tells you to do something, you don't know better, right? And you're just following along. So I left. So I hit my first home run in a company called NasZ. That's when I made my first 10,000 a month. And then my sponsor at the time had a falling out with his business partner and whatnot, and he convinced me to go to another company. And so what happened was when I left that company, sometimes you got to leave a company not because you lack integrity, because you want to maintain your integrity. Jim Rohn says, success is not something you pursue; it's something you attract by the person you become, right? So that's the good news of it. The bad side of it is you got to also be careful of who you become in pursuit of what you want, right? It's like, what if you went after the world and it costed you your soul? And so that's kind of what I was experiencing. I was losing who I was losing my character, my integrity. I was doing things that I knew wasn't right? And I was like, how much money is that worth? And so when I left, my upline at the time looked at me and he said, I created you, I made you, you'll never succeed without me. And so when I left that company and went to Secret, I made a commitment to myself. I said, I'm not going to recruit any of my old leaders. I'm not going to bring anybody over. I told them to stay, and I built it from scratch because I wanted, number one, to prove to myself that I could do it, which I knew I could, and number two, I wanted to prove to everybody else that I can do it with or without them, and that I have the power to create my future, nobody else. And it was kind of like a slap in the face to my old upline that said I couldn't do it without them. And so that was my original thing, because I didn't want people to make excuses for why I was where I'm at. People like, oh, because he brought some big leaders over, he did this, he did that. And the other thing is, I respect people in network marketing. It's like, if you're in another company, why can't we be friends, right? At the end of the day, people are following their goals and dreams. It's like network marketing is already so persecuted, prosecuted already by other people. Why do we do it to each other? You know what I mean? It's like, I support your goals and dreams. If you feel like your company is a good fit for you, I'm going to help you and support you with whatever I can do in your company. You know what I mean? I'm not going to try to recruit you unless you come up to me and you ask me my honest opinion, or you want to join. That's a different story, because it's kind of like karma. And so I just built it organically, just so no one can have any excuses of why I got to where I'm at and whatnot. And when you build organically, it could be a slower build. That's the truth. It could be a slower build. Obviously, if you recruit a leader, you have hundreds and thousands of people that can join your business right away. And, a lot of people, but that also creates such a bad mindset, because then people think, oh, I can only succeed if I create leaders. So you're not really empowering people, you're disempowering people now. It's like, what about the average person? They don't know leaders, right? It's like, what came first, the network marketer, the person, or the leader? It's the person. Everybody starts somewhere. And so for me, it is a slower build, developing people, but it's a more significant build, building people. And that's what our true calling is in network marketing, is to build people. Because if you build the people will build the business. And when you do it that way, you're going to create a stronger foundation, I honestly believe, a stronger fellowship with you and your leaders. And it's more magical that way, seeing someone get started, no experience, seeing where they are, break through their excuses, break through the mental conversations they have with themselves, right? Break through their limiting beliefs and become who they knew they should have been all along. And like I said, it's a more significant build, and that's what I chase after, significance. There's a lot of people in the industry that make a lot more money than I do, right? There's a lot more people that have a lot more success. But, at the end of the day, it's not about the money you make. People don't remember you for what you get. People remember you for what you get. So that's kind of my philosophy on it. Now, if somebody from a network marketing company came up to me and wanted to join, of course I'll say yes, you know what I mean? But I'll never go out there and deliberately bash someone. You know what I mean? It's like kind of like, I just help out everybody. And at the end of the day, if things don't work out with their company, they're going to remember who was there for them. And they're going to join, not because of the company, they're going to join because of you. And when someone's sold out on you, that's how you create a long-lasting bond. You know what I mean? So
you more or less think legacy and longevity over that short-term cash gain.
You know what? I honestly just think a betterment of people, because what's always good for me is not always good for everybody else, right? And if you just focus on giving to people, they'll always come back to you. You know what I mean? It's like we're all going to get there. I know I'm going to become successful with or without, certain people, but I want everybody to win, because if you win in your company, guess what? It's a win for the industry as a whole. And like I said, our industry has a bad reputation because everybody's bad-mouthing each other, going after each other, doing all this stuff. But what if we could be different? What if we can show people that we can coexist? You know what I mean? And when you do that, you set a better message and you start changing the world in a sense, right? Because there's plenty to go around. It's important to have an abundance mentality versus a scarcity mentality. I think that's what trips you out. That's why you have people go, oh, I can't succeed because I don't have spillover, because I don't have this, I don't have that. And it's like everybody's so scared because they don't feel like they have enough. And if you feel like you never have enough, you'll never be enough.
Wow.
Yeah, that's big. Now, with building, there's some people that listen to the show, listen right now, listen every single week. There's some people right now that never have heard the show before. Some people right now that are in network marketing that are entrepreneurs, and there's some people that aren't. Now, if for that person that's listening that have had a couple opportunities come their way and a little skeptical, or that new person that just joined, what's the best advice that you can give to them?
So I guess, so what should I say to someone that's skeptical? I say you don't know what you don't know. So if you're skeptical about network marketing, I understand why you would be skeptical, because there's so many BS things out there. But I would also suggest that before you reject something because you don't know what it is, do your own research, look into it. And when you look into it, don't look at blogs and forums of people that fail, don't succeed, that just wasted their time instead of taking responsibility for why they are where they are, blaming other people. Like, do your due diligence. Forbes magazine just released an article that said, if you're thinking about retirement, why not join a multi-level marketing company? Forbes is a prestigious magazine. Do your due diligence. Robert Kiyosaki, everybody that's in real estate, mortgage, stocks, knows who he is, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Well, guess what? If you believe in what he says in Rich Dad, Poor Dad, then you should also believe what he says about business of the 21st century. Talk about network marketing is the wave of the future. And it absolutely is. It's the average person's best chance. I challenge you. I'm 27 years old right now. What other opportunity do you know, right? What other opportunity do you know can a 27-year-old college dropout that before this, right, that was not confident, was insecure, right, didn't know who he was, didn't believe in where he was going, didn't even believe in himself, can not only go out there and create a multiple six-figure a year residual income, but can also become a person that when he looks in the mirror is happy with who he is confident about where he's going, right? Where else do you know you can do that? And so my question to you is, if you're skeptical, is it at least possible to think that there might be something here? And if it's possible to think that there might be something here, wouldn't that be worth taking a look at, especially if you're not happy with where you're at? Because you don't know what you don't know. And the last thing you want to do is reject something that you don't know and that you don't understand, and it could have been the one thing that you're looking for your whole entire life. Now, for all the people that are on the call that are like brand new, that just got started, whatever it is, the best advice I can give you is another lie that we're told, right? Another lie that we're told is just give it your best and it'll be enough. And I'm sorry to tell you, right, giving it your best is not enough, because my best is different than someone else's best, right? Their best is different than, so on and so forth. We all have a different level of potential and best. So when we give it our best, unfortunately, our best will only take us as far as our best can take us. And that's why personal development is so important, because, the simple philosophy that I have is do your best until you know better. And once you know better, go back to doing your best. And do your best, and guess what? Until you know better. And once you know better, do your best. Because when you know better, and you do the book, you read the books, you go to the training, you're bettering your best, and you keep increasing your potential. So doing your best is not enough. If you do your best, hey, guess what? Unless you're growing, your best will always be the same. So, and I'll tell you the same thing my mentor told me. Before we were all somewhere, we were all nowhere. If you want it bad enough, you can get there. So that's the best advice I can throw out there.
Yo, NasZ, this is what I'm saying, NasZ. This is why I like, what we've been doing with this show, because we get to bring people on like Julian who, have just have such a vast knowledge base when it comes to doing this thing, when it comes to doing network marketing and stuff like that, and they can share, their experiences, they can share their fails, and they can share, what they learned and what they think, what his perspective is on the best way to go about things. And, this could reach out to those people who feel exactly what Julian is saying, because of course we'll always have people who might think, oh, well, this guy talks like this and that, but there's always those people who, who hear what he would say and then think, wow, and then their lives are touched. Because I know for a fact, I know that, thousands of people might hear this show, might hear this exact interview, and might just say, well, I don't know. But that one or two people who do hear it, their lives are affected, they're touched, and then they go out and make something happen. So, Julian, thank you. Really, I really appreciate
man, because like you're saying, Josh, the truth is that there are a bunch of people listening, but we're only talking to one person. We're only talking specifically to one person, that is looking to make a change and really feels like that this is better for them. Because some people, my dad says it all the time, it goes in one ear and comes out the other. I can tell you how great it's worked for me, how great it's worked for people on the team, how great it's worked for people that have done this before us. But it's that decision and really letting down that barrel and just being open to change, being open to being better. And I really like what you said, Julian, about, do your best until you know better. That's a big deal because, like you said, my best may not be your best. Your best may not be your upline's best, or even somebody in your downline. It may not be their best, but you do that and you give 100% until you're 100%, until that bar is raised, and then you go after that with everything. So this is good stuff. So, like, the people that are listening, I know they're taking notes, and just really going to help them become better at what they're doing, become better at business, become a better person. End all, be all. I'm really in this thing so that, 10, 15 years down the road, I can have somebody that I've never met before, don't know, walk to me and say, yo, I heard this show, or I saw this video, or I read this post, I read this book, this article, blog post, whatever it may be, and be like, that right there helped me change my life, whether I'm the one providing the value or if I'm just the one that's quote-unquote DJing, like, bringing people on a show or interviewing people to provide that value. And big thing is leading with value first and not getting people in just off the money, bringing people in and let them know that this can be better for whatever their needs are, whether it's changing family, changing lifestyle, changing income, a changing future, sending their kids to college, whatever the change may be, really building towards that and giving everything they have. So, Julian, you're hitting everything on the head. I want
to throw out that what you're doing is an amazing thing. I mean, you're, in a sense, this is kind of like a modern-day Napoleon Hill. The best way to learn is through other people's experiences. So, I mean, it's crazy. You never know who's going to listen to this, and you never know who's out there. But the person that's listening to this that needs it is going to get it. And so you are the bridge, and it's an amazing thing what you're doing. So I support it 100%.
And I really enjoy this because not only do I get to be the curator and provide this for other people, but I'm actually being able to interview you and other people like you is learn a lot for myself and be able to take this, get pumped up, become motivated, get insight on different things, how to approach different situations, and go out and apply that to my own life and to my own business. So, this is just
we get a lot out of these interviews.
Right. This is value packed, man. I'm going to have to go back and listen to this again today to make sure I understand everything because it's a lot. It's a lot. And being only 27, I'm 26. I'll be 27 at the end of this year. So being close in age, and I'm still getting a lot of value. I get a lot of value people that are younger than me just because, they put in more work, they put in more hustle, put in more time, more years. But it gives me something to work towards and gives me a better best to work towards.
Sounds good to me.
Julian, I got 3 more questions for you, and then pretty much I'm done unless NasZ has something else. First question I want to ask is, what was your greatest failure?
That's a great question. What is my greatest failure?
Dig deep.
I mean, but then the real question is, what is your definition of failure? You know what I mean? Because when things don't work out, it's never really a failure. You learn from it. You know what I mean? You know the saying that you either win or you learn. So I think the only true definition of failure is if you give up. And I mean, I can't really think of a time when I really gave up. I can think of times where I have to go into reevaluation mode and all that stuff. I mean, I guess I could say the greatest failure that I've had, but was also the biggest breakthrough, because you can't have the breakthroughs without the breakdowns, And so for me, it was in my previous company when my upline, told me to do certain things that I knew I shouldn't have done just to get the commission, do whatever it is, and I knew better. But because I didn't stand for myself, that I allowed certain things to happen. So I mean, I guess I could say that was my greatest failure, because giving up who you are, you know what I mean, and doing something that doesn't feel right to you. And because when you're not true to yourself, I mean, that's when things start going wrong, you know what I mean? And I mean, that's one example. And another example I can think of is, also be careful who you're around, because whoever you're around, you become. Again, my previous company or previous upline, I made a lot of money, but then I started forgetting who I was. I forget where I came from. I developed an ego. And you know what I mean? When you're not humble, you're gonna get humbled. And so that's one thing I can share with everybody is just, always stay humble. Always stay hungry. You know what I mean? Always stay honest. Honest to yourself, honest to others. And so I could say when I didn't do those things is when I failed myself.
Wow. And what was your greatest success, or would you consider that part of it when you decided to switch over and basically become who you are? Would you consider that your greatest success, or is there another?
Yeah, I honestly, my greatest success, I can honestly say, is every decision I decide to walk away. Walk away from the relationships that didn't serve me. Walk away from the things that didn't make me better, because sometimes it's hard. It's really hard to walk away. And I'm not telling you to quit your business and all this stuff, but sometimes, you have to understand there's certain people you got to love from a distance, and there's certain things that do not serve you. There's certain things that do not make you better. And it's not just about saying yes to life. Sometimes you got to learn how to say no. And so it's all the times that I made a decision to stand for myself, for what I believe in. For me, that's when I was most proud of, Because it's in those moments of the decision that, really it shapes your destiny. Because all those moments that I decided to let go, make a decision, stand for myself, what I knew was right, was what led me to another chapter, to another chapter, to another chapter of growth.
Wow. That's awesome, man. And last question I got is, man, what's the future for Julian Doan? What other projects are you in? What do you have anything you're trying to come out that's outside of network marketing?
Right now, the money I make in network marketing, I'm reinvesting it. So just investing into like low-income housing and stuff like that. God's not making any more land. Unfortunately, the middle class is disappearing, right? The lower class is increasing. So people are gonna need homes and stuff like that. The future, buying a lot of low-income housing, going through the management companies just to have people move in and they take care of all the rent, they do all that stuff just to make some extra residual. Because it's all about accumulating assets, which is stuff that puts money into your pocket, not take money out of your pocket. But ultimately, my vision is, once my business gets to like $1 million a year residual, whatever it is, I don't know, maybe the numbers will change. But my ultimate vision is I want to go out there and I want to transform lives. And so, I want to become what we call a transformational trainer, because there's different levels of speakers, of trainers, right? There is the motivational speaker, which will just get you motivated, right? Then there's a personal development trainer, right? And that's, really going to give you the tools, kind of tell you this is what you need to do to fish, this is what you need to do this, do that. And then there's a life coach. Again, it's kind of they motivate them, personal develop them, but kind of gives you the answers, tells you what to do. And ultimately, I want to become a transformational trainer. And what a transformational trainer does is, through the power of asking questions, gives you the power to change your own life. And I think that's the most powerful thing, is not telling people what to do, but giving them the power to change their own life. And kind of similar to the course that I went through, that eventually I want to do that. And, and at that point, I won't have to worry about money. I won't have to worry about anything. And I can just do it because I love it and just truly give back. So, that's my ultimate vision and whatnot.
Wow. That's it, man. Thank you for that. And,
if
you have anything else to add?
Well, not so much. He pretty much covered everything that I was looking for. Definitely hit home on a lot of stuff. But what I want to do now, because I know there's somebody listening that actually wants to connect with Julian. So, Julian, if you have any social media, you got any email, any way for people to contact you, reach out to you, just to find out more about Julian or find out more about what you do or how you can help them, is there any way that the people listening can contact you?
If you can go to my personal Facebook, is facebook.com/Julian Doan. And then I have my professional page, which is where you can like it and all that stuff. I'll be more active on it. It's facebook.com/SA Julian P. Doan. And then for people in network marketing, I have a lot of training videos that I post up. And it's usually live, because it's different dynamics when you do it live. I know a lot of trainers speak in front of a green screen, do all that stuff, and all that stuff works, but I like the feel of live, so you can feel the energy and whatnot. And it's all generic, so you can take it, just replace secret with whatever company you're in, and the principles are always the same. And so just look up Julian Doan on YouTube, and you'll find the channel and everything like that. And then my Instagram is, I totally forgot what my Instagram is. I think it's Julian Doan 1, Julian P. Doan 1. So if you find me on Instagram, I don't know how exciting my life really is for you, but Julian P. Doan 1. So it's on there if you want Instagram. So yeah. So stay connected. It's crazy. It's about, if you want to build a $1 million business, you got to build $1 million relationships, and you never know. What role people are going to play in your lives and what you can learn. Everybody's a master at something. And, it's crazy, just being a part of this interview. We asked a lot of things that made me reflect on certain things I haven't thought about in a long time. So, I'm getting a lot of value out of this too. So that's the power of relationships and just really connecting with people.
Well, Julian, like I said, man, before we start recording, where I record, man, we definitely appreciate you for taking time out of your day to jump on and do this interview. We definitely appreciate the people listening. Definitely appreciate it. I don't have anything else. Josh, you got anything else?
Nah, man. Just Julian, thank you for being so generous with your time, man. Coming on here and jumping on. This means a lot to both me and NasZ, and I know it's going to mean a lot to the people who are going to be listening in. So thank you once again.
Nah, I appreciate both of you. Like I said, again, for the opportunity, because it's great to be able to share what you've learned, your experiences. That's how people learn, and and I want to give back to all the people listening. I appreciate all of you for listening, because for you to listen to this, you made a decision in your life. You made a decision. No one forced you to listen to this. No one told you have to listen to this. You made the decision yourself, and you're taking a stand for your life to go out there and look for the information, to look for the leadership. And when you make that decision to not wait for anybody else to go after what you're looking for, that's what this is all about. So I want to give back to the listeners. And these podcasts, these interviews are going to be some of the greatest tools in helping you build your business, not just your business, but your life. Because you never know what you're going to get out of it. And, learning from other people's experiences is one of the greatest ways to learn and to change your life. That's how people used to learn. There used to be no teachers, none of that stuff. You used to have a master and apprentice. That's how you learn. You found a master and you became an apprentice. And so, these interviews are going to be like the modern day, Think and Grow Rich, getting a chance to hear people's stories, their failures, their successes, and, good learning lessons for you. So thank you to everybody.
No problem, man. Josh, you ready to close this thing out, bro?
Yes, sir, we are. And this has been episode 8. Ladies and gentlemen, again, thank you for watching or listening in, on the Josh and NasZ show. NasZ, you can take it away.
Well, again, guys, thank you so much for listening to episode 8 of the Josh and NasZ show. This is NasZ. We invite you to check out episodes 1 through 7 on joshandnaz.com/show. Guys, we're giving it to you every Monday, real, raw, and uncut. We'll be back next week with another episode, giving you more value, giving you more breakthroughs, and giving it to you real. So, Josh, we out, man.
Peace.